What came of it to former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Economic and Social Council under Bush 43, Ambassador Terry Miller. Ambassador, what did you think of how the whole thing went?
Well, I was disappointed. I think there was a missed opportunity on the part of President Trump to really make the case publicly against President Putin and Russian interference in our election process.
Why don't you think he did?
Well, apparently he did make that case in the private meeting, but one of the problems with a summit like this, where you have a meeting between the two leaders with only interpreters in play, then it's very hard to get an accurate record of what was said or not. It does seem that he raised, that our president raised a number of issues appropriately during that meeting, things like Iran, things like the Ukraine. So these issues were raised, and apparently election meddling, too, was raised during that meeting, but we don't know what was said or how strongly it was said.
Well, I wonder on this election meddling, it must not have been said too strongly, or at least the president accepted at face value, the Russian president denying it. But again, I wasn't there. You weren't there, and I understand your point. Another guest was saying the same thing. I just think it made our president look really, really bad. And I only say that because I don't ignore some of the progress he's making on the economy and the markets. That's fine. You know, I'm just saying this particular performance made him look very, very weak and out of step with just reality and facts.
I don't understand why the president turned a question about Russian election meddling into a question about Hillary Clinton's server.
I know.
There's really no need to relitigate the election that President Trump won at this point. Certainly no need for the president to bring that up. The issue of Russian election meddling is a very different thing. It's an attack on all Americans, not just an attack on him or on the Republican Party.
You know, Ambassador, this is the same president had the nerve to criticize Germany making a deal with Russia to get natural gas and to provide back and forth. So it was a very rich deal. And that this somehow compromised security issues. I would say this performance today with the Russian leader took that on steroids times 100.
Well, I don't know how much real damage is done by something like this. What we had was
when you look the other way at a leader of a country that was trying to screw around in our elections, whether they had the desired effect or not, I'm with you. I don't believe it did. But I do believe they did. I do believe the intelligence agencies across the board, including active appointees of the President of the United States, not just those he argued in the past hated him, have all come to the conclusion, virtually every Republican senator I've talked to, virtually every Republican senator, period, that the Russians were trying to get involved, did get involved, and are ready to get involved yet again.
Well, I would have liked to have seen a more powerful denunciation of the Russians' attempt to meddle in our elections. That didn't happen, and we have to find a way to move forward from here. That's going to be litigated in our courts, clearly, and we'll have plenty of opportunity to talk about what Russia did going forward.
Yeah, well put. Ambassador, thank you for taking the time. I do appreciate it.